wildflowers, white and black holes. Turn my eyes into windows to wildflowers, white and black holes. Letting it fall together. I'm letting go for once, forever. Following this map under father sky is open heart. Golden hair is spun into the lightning whisper to the stars. I turn my eyes into windows to wildflowers, white and black holes. The light meeting in my middle between two worlds. The pattern move, a pattern grows into a map. How many times I take this path, woven with the vine, walking the red road alive. Jackie, I be the Maya. Jackie, I be the Maya. Jackie, I be the Maya. Flash of white and open sky, awareness seeing eye to eye. A quilt holding the silence of 1,000 rays streaming through time. I reach out my hand to feel the four winds that turn the wheel. The light meeting in my middle between two worlds. The pattern move, a pattern grows into a map. How many times I take this path, how many times I peel it back. Still the story stays intact. Free my heart of hearts. Mystery of love, don't go she long. Jackie, I be the Maya. Jackie, I be the Maya. Jackie, I be the Maya. Be the Maya, be the Maya, be the Maya, be the Maya, be the Maya.
True. Peace. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. Salute to all watchers and all future watchers. Definitely take time. Please take time. And share this video with one person. Everybody on the panel. Greetings to y'all too. But I need the same thing up out of y'all. I need y'all to go ahead and start sharing this link. I didn't have enough time to send it out. So we could go ahead and get started. Let me see. Let me send this link out a little bit myself. Let me send this out real quick. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about it. Let me get right. Y'all can free y'all mics and anything, so we can actually build. But this topic, right? We're going to talk about what Europeans and what other people are calling Yupaha. It's gonna be fairly simple. I'll share the screen when I need. But when we hold on, let me put these headphones in. One moment, bro. It's all right. So what we're gonna talk about today is the ontology and mythology. Um, so Usually when you hear about Yupaha, what you usually hear is straight mythology. You hear about that it should be an El Dorado, um, or some shit like, oh, they had gold everywhere and all this beautiful, all this other shit. Peace to the chat. What's going on, Lou? So I want to clear some things up. Um, this isn't just about mythology. There are some people that actually live this, right? And when we're dealing with ontology, ontology is simply being, simply existing, right? Being in existence. Mythology is created off of ontology. So what is, somebody will take what is and create a mythos out of it to make sense of it. This is the same thing that's going on with Yupaha. So let's talk about the facts of the matter. When DeSoto came into the land, all of the land was considered Yapaha. Now, the thing about Yapaha is the people of Yapa, they spoke different dialects of the same language. Now, let's see. Now, the thing about that, Auntie, you can hop in. I sent you the link. We back up. So the thing about that is when he got to the place that they call Apalachee, he didn't understand that he was already in the land, but the big town was somewhere else. So when he got the guard or the guide they call Perico, let me, matter of fact, let me pull this up. I'll make it make even more sense. So when Perico was helping him, Perico actually understood the language of the Yupaha. So he was able to get DeSoto close, but he himself had never been to Yupaha. So the question is, how did a man on Peninsula, Florida, uh, who was Apalachee, understand the language of the people of Yupaha? This is a great question. It's because they had one language. Now, when Perico was DeSoto's god, DeSoto eventually came across some different people. And the people DeSoto came across were Hichiti speakers. Uh, how do we know that they were Hichiti speakers? It's simply because they had no R in their language. So being that they had no R in their language, they didn't roll their left when DeSoto came and seen a group of people called the Chalakwi. Of course, an English speaker will translate that as Cherokee, but the Cherokee didn't exist at the time. And you're talking to someone who's had a piece of his family, a part of the Cherokee Confederacy, or what became known as the Cherokee. And it it gets freaky and spooky because modern scholars try to put their idea on some ancient shit and further miseducate people. If you're watching this, please share this with one person. It will do us great justice. So DeSoto gets amongst these Hichiti speakers. And amongst these Hichiti speakers, he ended up calling the land Kofa Techekwi. Now, how could the land be called Kofa Techekwi in the people's language if that's not what they spoke? Or excuse me, that's not their original language. So when I hear someone repeating the term, it lets me know where they are in this, literally, because there's no way that you've studied what you consider to be Kofa Techekwi, but you've never found the language of the people. You've never figured out what they called themselves. Whoa, you never figured out what they called themselves. How can you talk about a culture and you know shit about their autonym? How can you talk about a culture and you know nothing about their endonym? These are things that actually matter. We have to take all of these things into consideration, especially when we're having these conversations. So DeSoto gets to the land, but the people that took him
were Muskogee, or excuse me, Ichidi speakers. When he gets to the land, he ransacks shit, burns things, kill people, and he planted a cross on top of a temple mound. But who helped them do this? It was so-called Muskogee or Musqua that became Ichidi speakers. So there was already civil wars going on in the land. By the time the Europeans got here, there were already civil wars. So when in order to understand Kopa Techeki, or you have to understand how it came to be, because before it was Kopa Techeki, we know for a fact there was no maize in the land. So being that there was no maize, somebody had to come bring the, and them bringing the maize, they brought a culture with them also. This is your green corn. This is what we talked about plenty of times before. So what I want to touch on is Yupaha as a word, and we'll walk it around. Let's pull up this screen. Let me pull up this screen real quick. And we're gonna walk it around and show how easy it is to figure this out. It's not hard. Now, the mythology is what gets people. Well, what they're used to is things being run by men. So when they hear or find out, like, wait, damn, there was a what they call a chiefess that was in this land, and she had control of the land. But not only that, there were other women that had seats. So this confused Europeans because they were low key used to seeing men in charge. That's their culture, used to seeing men in charge. So the mythology behind it overrode the ontology, the simple act of being. So now they say, well, the lady of Kofa Techekwi was this feet tall. You know what I'm saying? She was 6 feet. It's always mythology. Never have they told you the women ran Yupaha. Never have they told you that the woman they're calling the lady of Kofa Techekwi, or the queen of Kofa Techekwi, wasn't the queen at all. She was the niece to the great woman. Her mother was the sister of the actual lady. That's the difference. So there can be some confusion when one doesn't know what's going on. So who are the Yupaha? This is what many people want to know. And over the last 2 years, um, over the last 2 years, I've had people grab for that name because they have nothing of their own. They ignore their own family. Um, they want to be a part of something that's greater than them without simply saying, you know what, I gotta be my fucking self. Let me see if I can get this other screen in here. Let me share this. So, who were the Yupaha? Properly, a lot of people translate Yupaha as being the people from above. What you will usually hear is that Yupaha or Yubaha is a Timucuan word. And they say Yuba is Timucuan for meaning across or above. So would it not be interesting that ha is a so-called Siouan suffix? So it's not Timucuan. They adopted that. But right here is clear as day. It says, as he stood in front of his house, which overlooked the Perturba River, that's Timucuan, the friar counted 11 war canoes filled with filled with armed Indians from the land of Ibaha, which the Spanish call Guale. Peace. So Ibaha, Yupaha, is another name for the Wale. Now, sometimes when you read this, you may get, well, what if Yupaha wasn't a name for the Wale, but Yupaha was a name for all Muskogean people? The way you counter that is simply this. The reason Yupaha wasn't a designation for all Muskogean peoples from the Timucua is because the Wale aren't originally a Muskogee speaking people. That's a language that they later adopted. Let's see. So I keep trying to pull these screens up. This shit keep dropping for some reason. Um, Let me try to pull this up again. Give me 2 seconds. And I'm gonna go text for text. Who is this coming in? Okay, we got Vince coming in. Let me continue. Let me try to go text for text. I don't know what pulled us down. So you got all these different groups, right? You have bands of Saponi, you have bands of Catawba that also considered or called themselves to be Yupaha. Now, when you study Yupaha, and it's something that I've pointed out years ago, this is a culture that goes from, I ain't got it. Hello, yeah. Let me tell cool. This is a culture that we show goes from Florida all the way into the valley area. Not only that, Munt is on here. Munt and I also proved and showed the whole east side was once called Apalachee. So Apalachee and
That is a fact.
Yupaha, go ahead, cuz, pardon me.
That is a fact, and that also that proof and the map, and along with Lori and Mark's comments over the past week about uh, the Chinese Armada coming in with those big boats through that gap of water, would let you know that the land was a lot uh, spread out, or the
Right,
waterways were a lot bigger.
right. And we spoke about that. A lot of people not understanding the Mississippi and the Missouri was one big ass ocean. So when them people said they was crossing over, they was talking about crossing the ocean. This is how old these stories are. The laptop going in and out. I don't know. It's HP. It's HP touchscreen. It like to act up. It maybe want me to freestyle. So I'll freestyle. Fuck it. So when we talk about Yupaha, we're dealing with the whole East. If your people were not Yupaha, you came in a lot later. And it's okay. There's not anyone who didn't migrate, right? Now, in the great words of Eagle Joe, or the words of the great Eagle Joe, he said, well, we always been a part of the Indian family. But as things go on, we move and we go here, we go there, we migrate, and people start to change their names. So you will leave from over here, and then we'll come see you, and now you Cherokee. This is an 85-year-old elder. Everybody in the East was Yubaha. And to properly tell you what it means at 19-minute time step, it means the people of the swamp pine trees. Literally, it's talking about the swamp land of the pine trees. Yapa means wood. Literally. The Yuchi told the Cherokee this and they never understood what the fuck was going on because they didn't have the wood used to light the fire. They didn't have the wood used to make the baskets. They didn't have the wood used to heal themselves. They didn't have the proper wood to use to make their houses. So who are the people that are the masters of this? Who were the people that actually knew how to use these trees to heal themselves? These were the people of the trees. These were the people of the pine tree. This is the same terminology when they were saying Teligui or Tisligui in the Walaum. So the Catawba tell you, Kofa Techekwi, that's Yupaha. Kainos, that's Yupaha. Wale is Yupaha. But the idea that people are reading with or is an idea that they learned that they learned within school. I had to get that from Ray. Yeah. So with that being said, the story of Yupaha is always limited to one town. And it's always about this tall woman who was beautiful, and DeSoto met her for all these pearls. But what happened to the thousands of towns that made up Yupaha? The Xuara or the Xuara, they were a part of Yupaha. Somebody couldn't pronounce Xuara, so they said Shulakwi, Kui coming from the Hichiti and the Muskogean speakers. So they were called Shira. Somebody said Sheila. And then here go these fucking migrants saying Shilakwi. This is literally how it happened. There were no Cherokee in the 1500s. That was the Yupaha. I dare anybody to test me. Test me, and I'll show you something. See, what a lot of people are not understanding is they're looking at these people as tribes. So you minimizing what the fuck is going on. These were kingdoms, trade systems, businesses. But you'll have some that'll limit Yupaha to one specific place, not understanding we had thousands of towns. Majority of them, and all of them first, having the same rank before the Mississippian era. Test me, and I'll show you something. I dare you. Before maize came into the land, there was no Yama. Before maize came into the land, there was no green corn ceremony. So there was no maize, and there was no corn, and there was no beans, and there was no squash, and there was no tobacco. Everything you needed for your green corn ceremony didn't exist here. We had harvest. That's why our fields are better than the fields in Mexico. I could drop a seed right here. What's gonna happen to me? That bitch gonna sprout right the fuck up next to it. See what I'm saying? So the ground that we live on is much fertile. This is why when they got here, the first thing they did was drop those kernels. They was dropping them on their way over. Literally. That's how they knew how to get back home. The yellow brick road is the road back home. Why do you think they went back to the west? And the niggas stayed in the east. But the niggas that went back to the west are what? Claiming the same bloodlines as the people in the west. In the west. That's they people, bro. The nigger creeks, the black creeks, they're really Muskogee. They was the ones that migrated over here. And then they cousins followed them and then shat on them. You see what I'm saying? Because why? Because the dark skins was already in the east. The light skins was still in the west. They was friends with the Aztec. When they empire fell, they started migrating to the east. So this 1521, by the time 1540 come, they in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, them boys in Ohio. Them boys in Ohio. All through losing to motherfucking Cortez. They're immigrants. So by the time DeSoto pull up on the land, the people who got the land is who? The immigrants. Let's talk about it. This is something that needs to be talked about. So, Torch. Oh, probably left it in the whip. So what I'm getting to is everything you have ever studied about Yupaha came by way of somebody that wasn't. Everything you studied about the tribe came by somebody that's not tribe. Or better yet, that's not a part of that union, because it's not a tribe. A tribe would limit the people like they tried to do. So when you find out the Apalachee and the Yupaha had the same language, And this is a different language from Hichiti, but the same language spoken by the Catawba Confederacy. This would mean that the language of the Wale isn't dead, it's fucking renamed. Somebody called this something else. I dare you to try me and I'll show you. Try me so I can show you. Try me. Today's the day. Because we actually live this. What happens when you find out that the Tamukwa called the Wale Igua'a? Igua'a. What happens when you find out that Igua'a is a Siouan word? I can show you the word in any so-called Siouan language. And guess what it means? Across or that which is above. Same meaning. But people want to continue to give the credit to the Tamukwa because they don't know anything about the Wale. Why? In their code of ethics, they couldn't tell you too much. This is why
The
most things that are.
Tamukwa, the
Go ahead,
Tamukwa
cuz.
is just a the Tamukwa is just a language barrier.
That's it. So you got different groups of people that speak different groups of languages, but all of these languages consist of the other language. That's it. The Tamukwa wasn't organized into any political organization as one people. They were not a culturally homogenous people. So when we speak about the Tamukwa, as Cuz said, we're actually talking about a language category, a language classification. We're not speaking about a culture. We're speaking about people that went to war against each other and actually hated each other. They didn't like each other more than they didn't like the Wale. But we're going to go to them, and they were the enemies of the Wale. They was the enemies to the Wale. We're going to go to them and get our information about this culture from a people they weren't really fucking with until the 1600s. They dealt with each other in the ancient world, but there were too many wars. So when they did come together, you start to see a rise in different forms of uh, ceramics. Even when the Yamasi come in with the Altamaha ceramics, what they had to find out is this shit is so old. They had to walk it back 1,000 years. So they like, wait, we can't distinguish between the pottery over here and the pottery over there. So either they're the same people or somebody was doing a lot of trading. But the same people who will say, no, they're not the same people will tell you they had no contact with each other. So how in the fuck they had the same ceramic style? We're not talking about men. We're talking about the art of women. You get what I'm saying, right? Some things just happen. We're not talking about language. In language, babies make specific sounds, right? So words like Baba, which means father, mama, nana, dada, those are natural sounds made by babies. This is different from ceramics. So we walk it back. We're out of De Soto's era. Now we're in the Deptford era. We're dealing with 500 BC or before Common Era. And you have this culture where these people are mixing and mashing things together to make something greater, which later became the Swift Creek era. So we're talking about mixing and mashing. I want to be specific. These groups didn't see themselves as different races, though they were different people. This is the thing to look at. They didn't see themselves as different races, though they knew they were different people. They didn't have a concept of race. There was no concept of race. So when someone says, well, they were a mixed group of people, well, aren't we all? Because if you're not, you're inbred. So you don't have to say, oh, it was Negroes or they were Negroes. I don't care about that. But what you're not going to do is act like you don't know who or how they looked, who they were and how they looked. Because if we know the Yamasi are a confederacy of different groups of indigenous people, but the Yamasi were assumed to be pre-Columbian African, then this would only conclude that since they not one people and there's multiple groups, but they look like pre-Columbian African, this means that those are what you would call on your own time niggas. You can say it how you want, African Americans. But you have you have your government and their scientists, and then you have a tribal nation who addressed the government saying, hey, y'all know the Yamasi were here before the settlement of Europeans. You know this to be a fact. Yet you reclassified these people after wars as Negroes, Creeks, and amongst other things. One of the main groups that made up the Yamasi, the majority, was the Wale. But the Wale weren't calling themselves Wale. They were still calling themselves Ibaha. Or excuse me, let me put it this way. You had a division in the family of Blackwater. And then you had the Wale and the Ibaha. So you still had the traditionalists and you had those who were Christian. But both of these unions operated in their own right at the same time, and they still were Yupaha. The Yamasi knew us as Yupaha. It's a fact. They still say it today. Or the original Yama called us that. The Confederacy are the ones who called us Wale. Now, think about this. Wale, right? How ironic is it that they'll tell you Wale is how the French, or Wode is how the French translated Wale. And they'll tell you it's the name of a chief. But what if you fucking find out Wale in the Apalachee language means the border or the edge of the land? Now, where did the Wale live? Test me. Try me. From New Orleans, bro, the Gulf Coast and the East Coast in the Apalachee language are called Wali, the border or the edge of the land.
So it wasn't no distinction.
There was no distinction. Wherever water and land met, that's Wale. That's how they viewed it.
That's what Wale meant, name the rapper.
Not really. But
Major fact.
But now the other dagger is, and that's this, as I told the clown last month, I said, well, you say the Wale are Muskogee because they use the title Miku. That's like saying Africans are Europeans because they use the term king.
Right.
Do you see what's going on? What niggas is not understanding, these are shared political titles for a purpose. Thank you. So if I use the term president, I'm an Englishman now. It's basically what you're telling me. So when you look at what's going on, you have to understand The Apalachee called their leader and the Muskogean dialect Olata. This is what you would read in the fucking book. But when I say, wait, that ain't no H and that ain't no L. That's a R. That's a Orata. Orata. That's a female leader. I had to think about it. I say, because you don't see Maku until the niggas come into the land with the green corn. This is how the women became Mikus. So you have women Mikus that are over Oratas in ceremony because they was already the leaders of the fucking union, bro.
That have anything to do with me?
Yes, Mikusuki literally means the lead people. Miku means to lead, to be up, to lead. Miku. It's really come from the word Miki. Mikisuki. It's two different groups.
Yeah.
You have the Miki and you got the Zuki. This the Yama and the Yuchi down there in Mexico. They fought the old Olmec and lost. The old Olmec wiped out their men, mixed with the women, and created a whole new people. The children of the corn. These are your Mayans. This is why the Aztecs left and came back and started doing what? Claiming shit that was older than them. That was they granddaddy them shit. They granddaddy fought for it. That's why they were all right. That's why they look like niggas. They granddaddies fought for that, moved up north and came back and said, hey, they grandson like this our shit. People like, nah, y'all don't belong here. Whole time they do. They granddaddy conquered the land before
Mix with y'all women.
and mixed with y'all women. Groups left. Some of y'all stayed in the back. Some of y'all moved to the Yucatan area. What Yucatan means, I don't know what you're saying. It's really what it fucking means.
Yeah.
Because bitches trying to talk to them and bitch like Yucatan. I don't know what you're saying. Who
are you?
Like, who are you? And you like to ask niggas that at school, bro, who are you? Like, what the fuck? So this is what's going on.
Yucatan.
Yucatan. So when we're looking at this in the wide frame, the Guale have towns called Olanique. You don't know no Native Americans named Neek. Anybody you know named Neek is a what?
Black.
Nigga. However you want to say it. It's a black person.
My sister.
But what about the other Ola or Orata that I showed? The difference is if you're reading them in Spanish, it's gonna say Ola, Olata, Holada. That is Spanish. You learned that shit from a European. Had you learned it from the tribal people, you know that le is rolled to re. It would have been orada, dagger. Y'all not, man, dagger. You don't know what's going on. These were the same people, had the same culture, spoke the same language before somebody divided them. This is how the word Chilakwi comes around. Because a lot of them did not accept the green corn. So they were seen as being those who spoke a different language because they didn't have the priestly language. Or those who may have left the green corn may have been called those who divided themselves from us. So what the language was at the time they were speaking is so-called Mobilian. So go in Mobilian and find out how you say that someone doesn't speak the same language as you. Then you'll find out that anybody who didn't practice green corn was considered Chilakwi by way of somebody else. That's not an hononym.
What about the Fire Nations?
Which talk to me.
You know, we already built on the people that come before green corn, which are the Fire Nations. We talking about them now.
You talking about the boys who came down?
I'm talking about us.
You talking the boys who came down? Listen,
I'm talking about us.
What you want me to drop? Talk to me.
I'm talking about us. The people that before green corn harvest even existed.
Let's talk about that. Okay.
We
Perfect.
had the fire. We had fire before ceremonies before it.
Facts. Facts. Okay,
because
there you going.
agriculture wasn't in the land. Right.
Yeah, that where you going. So we talking about all ceremony. This is where harvest come in. Let me click the screen. When we talk about original harvest, most of our ceremonies dealt with fire. And this is fire not only as to destroy, but we're talking about cleansing. Our fires came in multiple forms for multiple reasons. This was one of the reasons for the war. That science on behind how someone like Red Crane can light a fire and then make that fire turn blue and then harness that fire in his hand and turn that fire green was a form of healing that that was envy, right? And when this was going on, that blue fire, that unity fire, that fire that provides for everyone, is the fire that was left behind by the Muskogee. It's something special about that fire. Now, when we're talking about white fires, red fires, those already make sense. But what happens to an orange fire? What does that mean? Or how is yellow fire healing to the unions? Or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, these ceremonies didn't only come by way of our fire. We did actually mix these fires. This is how you get different forms of information. But our knowledge was
Uh-oh. Dagger.
this is how you get
Cause I was
twin
about to say it was
flames.
it was other people that came into the land with some fire
My
too
bad, me.
when they came with
Facts.
their ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
They saw one fire and said, "Hey, these are people of one nation."
Of one, and those people, I'm glad cuz is doing what lawyers not supposed to do. So the people that came from the west, the Muskogee, when they got to the east, there was a people who had a fire like them. It was the Hichiti or the Yama. This is why they called each other by the same name, because they were one and the same. This same thing can be found with the groups of the Anishinaabe, the Lenape. When they call themselves people of one fire, they mean that, and it's in every sense of that word. Let's see. I've been building. Who gonna drop in? Crane, you want to drop something, Pa? Munt, you and there, y'all boys drop something.
Yeah, I know of. I just got confirmation of a story yesterday of the Yuchi bringing their fire into Yupaha.
And the thing about that is when they got here, they accepted the name.
Right, and it was because they they came into the land with their fire because somebody had originally came in and conquered. My bad, car passing by. Came in and conquered their territory, and so, but what they did is when they left, they took their fire with them, and they said that their fire never went out. So when
Never went out. Facts.
they came into Yupaha, they united. They united with the Yupaha.
And like I say, this is why some of them, if you ask certain Yuchi, they remember Yupaha.
Facts.
Some don't. Some Yuchi will tell you, like, I've never heard of that before. I don't even know what that is. But those who originally came up that east or came to the east, they know.
That word Yapa and Taka, they definitely travel.
Facts.
Definitely.
Facts. Fire. Okay, I ain't gonna say yeah. But how do you start your ceremony without those four logs? You can't do ceremony without Yapa.
Right.
You can't. Bro, this land was so beautiful to them people. We had a science. They had a science. And when those not when that knowledge merged together, it was a force that could only be taken down by someone who was strict, who was just warlike. And let's thank the Yama, those who became the Yamasi, for even giving them ceremonies to calm their ass down. Because the Muskogee were, bro, them people were coming through raping everything, men, women, and children. Literally. They were so violent. They went into battle with the people left behind a baby. You know what they did? They stood a pole up and said, we gonna smash the baby against the pole. Whichever way the pole lean is the way we walking. Violent. Violent.
That's the way them boys, they omen.
Bro, what?
Whichever way the pole lean out there.
Whichever way the pole lean is the way we walking. They threw the baby against the pole. The pole dropped towards the east. They start walking towards the east to continue conquering people. I didn't make this up. This is their story. This is their story. I could see if I made it up and somebody could be like, oh, he's lying on that people, but I'm not. They know. They just ain't gonna tell you because they want Georgia. They want Carolina. They want the shit that their ancestors took while not telling the people, and we took that. The Muskogee went to Georgia talking about, we're serving you. This is our homeland. Bullshit. How can this be your home when you took it from somebody? You can go to any mound complex that is pre-Mississippian. You know what that bitch is going to tell you? These people were invaded by the Mississippians. Everywhere you go, Okmulgee will tell you that. You go to Kolamoki, they will tell you that. These people had their own culture. But when the Mississippians came in, they destroyed it all and then resettled the land and claimed it as their own. But everybody's so infatuated with the Mississippian, everybody infatuated with the Mississippian era, not understanding this shit was built off the Aztecs losing. That's literally what it's built off of. Nothing else. Had they not lost, there would be no Muskogee in the East at that time, around that 1540 time period. And then how evil could they have been is they lost in 1521. They were in the East by 1540. That's 19 years. In 19 years, your language became the lingua franca. Think about that. In 19 years, every Indian, 80% of all Southeastern Indian nations would use Muskogee to deal with bitches outside of their nation. When before they created a big ass language, so everybody had one language. The Muskogee came in, everybody took their language back. So now, whatever nation you is, I'm speaking in your language instead of speaking the unified language. So if me and you doing business and it's a Spaniard there, and then 200 years later, an Englishman is translating it, he gonna think me and you are both Muskogee because we spoke the same language during the motherfucking interview.
Yeah.
Cracker shit.
Just not realizing same way how y'all have English,
Right.
have a special somebody to know language outside of the country.
Right.
So that way when you go speak to people, yeah, I'm French, but I speak German, Portuguese. That way I'm able to communicate on behalf
of, come on. So this literally what was going on. Right now we're speaking English.
Right.
This is a lingua franca. It's a trade language. It's the major trade language. In English, you got words from over 2,000 different languages. This is what the people had before the Muskogee came in. So when you see words like the Cherokee will say Ani Kutani, you will say, well, damn, the Kutani, that has to be a Cherokee word. Not understanding people like the Lakota got the word Kuda. Kuda. So you say Kuta, me. When they took their piece from the language, they dropped the suffix me and would have added it to the front. And that I would have had to change. You had to change the sound of the vowel so it'd become na. This is how you get the Lakota, the Dakota, and the Nakota.
South Dakota.
This is how they go to breaking up. A bit say, I ain't fucking with what y'all got going on. I'm finna go this way. They went against the current. So you call them the people upstream because the river flowed downstream.
Yeah.
They went against the current. Yeah. Then you got another people that said, you know what? They going up there. I'm going down there. So y'all call them the people who went with the current or the people downstream. This is what the people are calling themselves.
Yeah.
But somebody came in and said, shit, they all speak similar dialects of the same language, so they the Souks.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Okay, so that's why when they put them in the concentration camps, it was problems because niggas was really
beefing, bro. You done grab niggas from over here. You done got people over here who got mixed blood. You got all these different people, but they speak similar dialects or different dialects of the same language. So you say, I'm gonna lump them together.
BD and GD.
BD and GD.
63rd, like with kids.
Right. Say, come on, bro.
Got it themselves. Come on.
Like what? Like, come on, bro. So you dealing with people with two different origins who came together at one point and then divided amongst a whole union. But you come in and say, well, shit, these people over here speaking this, they the Muskogee. These people were speaking this, they the Siouan. These people speaking this, these the Cherokee. These people speaking this, it sounds like that, but it's mixed with that and this. So it's Yuchi. It's its own thing. That's somebody else creating those categories. The people didn't do that themselves. That's why so much confusion. But all of this started with them boys who left New Mexico.
And also,
yeah, you know, on hold back, bro.
And also from research I've been doing last night, them Carolinas get way more expensive than what we know.
Yeah.
They get
my God.
more expensive than what we know.
Bro, an acre in North Carolina and South Carolina, depending on where you at, it's gonna run you 100 bands. It's gonna run you 80 bands. So these people have ancient land and this again, the reason they're able to do this is one, they wrote that the Guale abandoned the islands, while also saying they didn't abandon the islands. New people came in, but they start being called by the name of the new people. So that's confusion right there, number one. Number two, you have a group of people who also have admixture, but aren't in the public acknowledging that they have indigenous ancestors. So you were said in the room amongst the family, you know, my grandma used to make pottery and she could make baskets and she did this and she did that and my grandma was this and my grandma was Indian. My grandma was Kasabo. Why don't you take that to them people court and say that? Ain't that's how you supposed to defend that land? But you consider yourself to be an African. This is why they're taking it from you. This is why they do what they want to do in South Carolina. But then not only that, you will even have tribal people in South Carolina claiming things that they know is older than them. You'll have a tribe in Carolina telling people, yeah, we the oldest, not knowing they are part of that migration that I was talking about. Oh, shit. It's getting quiet in the chat. I don't know why. When I put this warhead dress on, it's about war, nothing else. So we're talking about Yupaha. We're talking about a culture that is proven to trace back 50,000 years, at least 50,000 years. This is what's going on. You have people who will say, well, and I respect it because that's their culture. Their culture may say, hey, this only goes back 6,000 years. Life is only 6,000 years old. This is what some people believe. And that's cool with me because it doesn't matter. You know why? Because Eagle Joe said since the beginning of time, we've had family, Indian family in Georgia. So whatever you feel like the beginning of time was, we was there in different forms because we weren't always in this form. So in different forms, we've always been there. But as things go on, you get in your car and you migrate and start calling yourself something else. You know, the white man, when he wrote that he came over here on the boat and that nobody else had boats to go anywhere, it's because he wrote it.
Trying to tell you.
My elder is 55 years older than I. There ain't shit that anybody can tell me about my culture that they haven't learned from somebody of the culture. What you can say, or the people you can talk to, are the true anthropologists that put their hands in the dirt, find those skulls and test them. We call them what? Craniologists. That is the name of their science, craniology. You deal with the botanists. We found this nitrogen isotope woody woo, so we can tell if it was maize here or if it's not, and or if we found another C4 type plant that was used at this time, and then maize came in and became the, you know what I'm saying?
And
This is
tell them
what has to truly be studied.
who
When
the
people ask me
grandchildren.
about giants, and I say, well, when you look at the Irene mound sites, and the Irene mounds are Mississippian mounds, these people were between the women were between what 4'9" and 5'2", and the men 5'7", 5'5", and 5'7", sometimes 5'9". But
Nephew,
go look up the average height for a Spaniard at that time, and it would be 5'3", 5'5".
nephew,
Spanish man.
So if he
nephew,
see, so now watch this. I
nephew,
could P walking in. If they seen rats and P in the 1500s, they would have said them niggas is giants. Me,
nephew,
look, bro. If bro, if they would have seen red crane 6'3", 6'4", they would have said they got giants amongst them. You get what
nephew,
I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, imagine walking the motherfucking.
nephew,
Everybody
nephew,
is tall.
Everybody 5'3". P. Imagine walking in the room, everybody 5'3". Bitch ain't gonna look at you like you a giant. Come on, bro. Bitch gonna say, who the fuck is this guy? That's why them crackers writing like they got giants amongst them. Of course.
I know the Englishmen look they like
So when the Englishmen came over and the Anglo-Saxon is taller,
yeah, big.
they seen they English cousins and said, boy, what the fuck?
Like
Right. I ain't no six
Okay,
finger
people
giant
better
either.
know how this works. You have to know how this works. Talk to me. Who we got? Who we got? Let's see. Paul,
nephew,
where you at? You ain't got nothing to drop.
nephew, nephew, nephew.
What's
You
up?
can hear me? You can hear me?
Let's see. Crane, I need you for 2 seconds. You cutting?
yeah, Apple Pay I've been
Nah,
working
nah, nah. I was
Paul
just
been
saying.
talking. Paul been talking. I don't
Let
know
me
if you can
see.
hear him or
I'm
not.
trying to see who I could get
Nephew,
on here to
you
drop
can hear
something
me?
real quick.
Hold on. Hey,
Mhm.
Paul talking.
You can hear me? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And dealing with that, right? When you said that dealing with the Aztecs, how they killed the men and took the women. The offspring of those children became known as the Mashika.
That's a fact.
All right, I had to drop. I'm back. I had to drop. My shit kept going out. Y'all know how I
You
get.
heard,
It go to
you heard,
freezing when I start getting hot. Let me
What's
drop
that,
you
this on
heard,
nigga?
you heard,
stage.
you heard what I said, nephew?
I might. Let
Let's
me see.
see. Let's see.
You heard what I said,
Go ahead.
nephew?
Can y'all hear me? Let me get a mic check in the comments.
Hey,
Cause for
you
some
can't
reason
Pa?
I can't hear nobody in my panel.
Can you hear Pa? Oh, he can't hear none of us.
Facts. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
let me
just
drop
texted them
everybody in
that.
the
I just
panel.
texted them
If
that.
if if I could get a mic check, drop some ones for me in the comments. All right, I'm good on the
We can
mic.
hear
So it's the
you.
panel. I'm gonna drop the panel and bring them back in. Let's go. Think Paul was trying to say something, but I'm not getting no sound from nobody. Munt, you there, cuz? Let me get a mic check if you there.
Yo,
Let me see. Reem.
Right out.
I'm bringing
All
Auntie
right, y'all.
back in. Got
All
Mama
right,
back
y'all.
in. Crane in. Pa
I can
in.
hear you now.
I don't know what's going
Iyoko,
on.
can you hear us?
You can't hear us?
Yo,
Let me check real quick. Hold on. Hold on.
We
Hold
hear
on.
everything.
Hold on.
they
Let me
don't want
see. Let
this
me see.
information out.
We hear everything. He
We
can't
can hear
hear
you.
nothing.
Bro, they can go back and listen to when I said about the offspring of the two became known as the Mashika.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they can't.
Nephew, you said where I'm at. I'm
I
on
can't
here.
hear them.
Yeah, he can't
Yeah, I
hear
can't
none
hear
of us.
nobody.
Yeah. Nephew,
So
I'm
what
on
y'all gonna
here.
have to do, bro? Y'all gonna have to drop and come back in. Like y'all gonna have to remove yourself and come back in because I'm good. So let's see where we at. Let's see where we at. Let's see where we at. So Tuscaloosa, they say like Tuscaloosa was 9 foot tall. I personally believe, and I'm using the word believe,
He was
but
the
I
seven
believe
footer.
he was about 7 feet tall,
Right.
seven something. Until they show me that 9 foot, that's when I rock with it. But I definitely um rock
Yo,
with 7 plus. That's just me. And I'm not
yo,
shooting down the nine. But I'm just
Yo,
used to seeing niggas 7 foot tall.
yo.
yo.
They have to show me that.
He can't
Um,
hear us.
let me see. Let me see. Let
Yeah,
me
you
see.
can't hear us, Mark.
Yeah,
I know what's
everybody
going
hear
on.
me, but I can't hear them. I don't
let me
want to
can't hear
start
me
the
either.
stream over.
That's crazy.
Uh, let me see. Let me
They
try
can't stop
something
the
else.
information. They can't stop it.
Let me try something else. Nah, cuz in the chat
I'm
asking, can
trying
I
one that
hear
you
him?
want.
Nah, I can't hear you, Reem. I don't know
No,
what's
this
up
the
with
red
y'all
black one.
shit,
Yeah, yeah,
cuz.
yeah. I know that the one you have want.
Yeah, facts, cuz. Even 7 feet. Peace on me. How you doing, sis? Even
That
seven
one,
feet
y'all.
is tall. Um, and again, when them people
You see if
said
my
that
finger
giant
working.
shit, I know what they was talking about.
Can
Yo,
y'all
but
hear me
yo,
now?
who
Mute
the
yourself.
Can y'all hear me
motherfucker
now?
phone playing?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear everybody us who
Oh shit, they
living.
just reset
Try
my thing
working today.
again.
I know what's going on.
Can you hear me
Let
now
me
now?
see.
Oh
Yeah, so
shit.
what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna
So
drop
y'all
this
boy can hear
stream
us?
and I'm gonna just come back. So once this drop, y'all just stay right there. Y'all gonna see live pop up on my YouTube again. I want to get them to present some things. So give me 2 minutes. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna be
125.35. Hold
right
on, let
back
me
in.
set them up for you.